Welcome to another edition of Studs and Country Video. On tonight's show, I have the pleasure of having singer, songwriter, television star, Bill Anderson has done it all. I'd like to welcome Bill Anderson to Studs and Country Video tonight. I was reading in your bio, Bill, that Bill Anderson, a man of incredible diversity and multifaceted talent, deservingly has earned the reputation as one of country music's major exponents. Explain that. That was the first paragraph in the bio.
I'm going to ask you. Tell me what that means.
The words are too heavy
pretty
for
highfalutin, isn't it? I think what it's saying is that I've done a whole bunch of things in life, none of which I've done very well, so I've had to do a whole lot of different things to keep the ship afloat.
How about Bill Anderson, a pioneer and innovator as a songwriter? Let's take one avenue at a time.
Well, that's kind of how I got started in the music business, as a songwriter, writing songs for other people to record, and then writing a lot of my own songs. Pioneer and innovator. What did I pioneer and innovate? I think maybe some of the songs that I wrote maybe back in the late 50s, early 60s, maybe were a little different from some of the things that were being written at that time.
Is that how you got your start in Nashville as a songwriter?
Well, I hadn't even moved to Nashville when I first started writing songs. I wrote a song called City Lights back in the late 1950s.
Johnny Bush recorded that?
Johnny had one of the records on it. It's been recorded many, many times. Ray Price is the guy that had the big hit record on it, the biggest hit record.
Played it on a radio show by Johnny Bush.
Well, feel free to play it by anybody. Mel Tillis has just recorded it. In fact, it's Mel's new record. But Ray Price had the #1 record of the year with the song in 1958. Mickey Gilley has had a big hit with City Lights. It's been recorded many, many times. But that's the song that got me into the music business.
And you were not yet in Nashville?
No, I was living in a little town called Commerce, Georgia, where I was working as a disc jockey on a radio station. And that's what opened all the doors in Nashville for me, because after I wrote that song, I could go to Nashville and walk in and say, I'm Bill Anderson from Commerce, Georgia, would you listen to my songs? But I'm Bill Anderson from Commerce, Georgia. I wrote a little song called City Lights. Would you listen to my songs? And it was, sit down, Mr. Anderson. Would you like a soft drink, a piece of cake, or something? So it just took that one thing to get the doors open.
Are any other members in your family songwriters?
No, I don't think so.
Anybody else?
Unless they're doing it without telling me about it.
Anybody else entertainment business?
No, not really. My family was all pretty straight. Go back a generation to my grandparents, and they were musically inclined. On one side of my family, on my mother's side, my grandfather was a minister. On my father's side, my grandfather was an old-time fiddle player, and my grandmother was a guitar picker and a singer. So you mix all that together, and I guess you get whatever it is that I am.
Bill Anderson now. Okay. Where do you get ideas for songs like City Lights? Where do you get the idea to...
I wrote City Lights sitting on top of a little building in Commerce, Georgia. The tallest building in town was 3 stories high, and I was sitting on top of the building looking up at the stars. It was a very clear night down at the town. My dad said he knew I had the imagination to be a good songwriter after I wrote City Lights in Commerce, because there are no city lights in Commerce, and the ones that are there, they turn them out about 8 o'clock.
An imagination is...
But ideas are all around you. They come from things people say. They come from movies. They come from... if you can sit still long enough, watch all the soap operas on television, you could write a lot of songs just from that.
You use the hook idea on a song, a song title, and then just work around that? Usually.
That's the way I have written most of my songs. All writers work differently. I work primarily from a lyrical idea. That's where I like to start.
Did you have any #1 hits on your songs?
Nearly everything that I've recorded, with just a few exceptions over the years, has been songs that I've written.
Now, who have you written for that recorded your songs?
Oh, everybody.
Everybody has recorded.
Oh, I've had songs recorded by everybody from Bing Crosby to Aretha Franklin to Jerry Lee Lewis to Glenn Campbell to Dean Martin to Lawrence Welk. I mean, I've written songs that everybody in the world's recorded.
Do you think it's necessary to be a songwriter to get your start in Nashville?
It's the best way.
Best way.
Because you see, here's the thing of it, the record companies have got singers coming out of their ears down there.
Right.
And they'll tell you that the most important thing is the song. And if the singer, no matter how great the singer is, if the singer doesn't have a song, then what's a singer without a song? So if an artist can come in there and be a good singer, and then have that supply of songs to sing, then they just got that much more of a foot in the door, and they're just that much farther ahead when they start, and when they get to the finish line, they're that much farther ahead.
What do you think of the entertainers that are bringing back the old songs, like Dwight Yoakam bringing back a couple of Johnny Horton
Well,
songs.
that just proves that the old songs, a hit song is a hit song is a hit song, regardless of what year it's recorded and who does it.
Who does it?
And I think a lot of my old songs are going to come back in the next few years. I think that starting with City Lights, that's just come out, and I'm having people call me. There's hardly a week goes by that somebody doesn't call and say, send me a copy of, and they'll name one of my old songs, you know. And so once it starts, I think I'll have a run on that, just like a lot of the writers have had.
Are there any good songs being written today, new stuff?
Oh yeah, sure. There's a lot of good new songs being written.
Let's talk about Bill Anderson for a second, the entertainer. What does it take to be an entertainer? Does it, like from a songwriter to an entertainer? One thing is to sit down with a pencil and write a song, and then the next thing is get up there and do it.
Well, see, now I distinguish in my mind between an entertainer and a singer. I am not a singer per se, as a technical singer goes. I'm a stylist. I have a different style. I have a different approach to a song. But I've worked very hard over the years at becoming an entertainer. When I walk on the stage, I figure that if the people just wanted to hear me sing, they could sit home and put my record on the record player and hang an 8x10 on the wall and look at it, and then they'd get the same feeling if I just stood up there and played the guitar and sang. So I want to entertain the people when they come to see me. There are people, I guess, who are born entertainers. The first one that comes to mind is Brenda Lee. I used to watch Brenda Lee on television in Atlanta, where I grew up, and she was 4 or 5 years old, and she knew how to entertain at that age. But most people have to work at it and develop a way to communicate with that audience in their own style. Entertaining is what I really enjoy. I love nothing better than walking on a stage with my group and taking an audience that has come there to be entertained and then entertaining them. There's no thrill in the world like that.
When did you first reach public attention as an entertainer as opposed to a songwriter? How long did it take you, once you were in Nashville as a songwriter, how long did it take you to jump that fence over to the entertainment field?
Well, I don't know that you can actually say that it happened at X point in time. I think it was a gradual thing. I had several #1 records, but that doesn't make you an entertainer. And
what makes you an entertainer? It's hard to...
It's very difficult to describe. At some point, a combination of hit songs, hit records, television exposure, which is very important today and was very important to me early in my career. That puts a face with a name, a face with a sound, a personality with a name and a sound, that television exposure that helps you so much. And at some point, if you're lucky, and I was lucky, you reach that point where you say, okay, I'm an entertainer, I am a professional entertainer. But looking back across my career, I don't know where that happened. I don't know at what point.
I was reading in a bio also that Bill Anderson, the recording artist. Now, what's the difference between Bill Anderson, the entertainer, and Bill Anderson, the recording artist?
There's a big difference. You go into a studio, you make a record, you put the record out, the people like it, that's fine. You don't really have to go beyond that as a recording artist. But if you're going to be an entertainer, you've got to then take that, get out there on the road with it, get on television with it, and sell the personality that goes along with the song and that goes along with the record. It's two entirely different things.
What was the first song you recorded? Do you recall?
I've tried to forget it.
Okay. What's your second song you recorded?
Second song I recorded was City Lights. I had the original record of City Lights on a very small label out of Texas. The first song that people really identify with me is a song called Po Folks. Now, I'd been making records about 3 years by the time I cut Po Folks. I'd had some hits. A lot of my songs had been covered by other people. I had recorded things like The Tips of My Fingers, which was a big hit for me and for everybody else, but people associate that song with other people. I had done a thing called That's What It's Like to Be Lonesome, which Ray Price picked up and covered again and had a #1 country record. I did Po Folks in 1961. I had been making records since the fall of '58, and that was really the first song that I think people really associated with me.
Po Folks is the name of the band.
Yeah.
You named the band after your hit song, huh?
Well, you know, back in those days, people did that more, I think, maybe than they do today. I had to come up with some kind of a name for the band, and the first thing that I thought of, at that time, all the members of my band were boys, guys, and I called them the Po Boys. And then years later, when I added some girls, they didn't want to be called boys, so I changed it to Po Folks. Yeah.
Po Folks band. Bill Anderson, the television personality. I have the bio right here in front of me, and it says, Bill Anderson, the game show host. Bill Anderson, the soap opera star.
I've done that. Guilty as charged.
How did you made so many transitions in your career? Starting out as a songwriter, entertainer, recording artist. Now, I see you on Fandango.
Well, it may be a lot like, you know, you have to keep moving, you can't hit a moving target, you know, maybe that's what it is. I enjoy doing a lot of different things. I've always been the kind of a person who liked to challenge, who liked to try new things, try different things, and when the opportunity came along a few years ago to get involved with game shows, I said, sure, why not? It's a chance to learn something. Then the opportunity came along to get involved with a soap opera, and I said, sure, why not? I'm the spokesman for a national chain of restaurants called Po Folks, back to that name again. These are all things that have just evolved over the course of my career, and instead of saying no, all I want to do is write and sing country music, I said, this is something I'd like to learn something about, and so I got into it.
How does it feel to be the host of a game show? They seem like they're having so much fun out there. Is it?
It is fun. It really is. I enjoy doing the show. I draw on all different parts of my background in doing the show. A lot that I learned when I was a disc jockey. A guy tells me I've got 5 seconds to say something, and he counts me down 5, 4, 3, 2. I can do that.
Right.
I know how to do that. You work in front of a live audience. It's a high energy type of thing. It's mentally very tiring. At the end of a taping day, we tape 5 half-hour shows a day. At the end of a taping day, I'm tired. I'm mentally and physically and emotionally drained. But by the next day, good night's sleep, and I'm ready to go do it again. And from that standpoint, doing the game show is fun. It's a challenge. It's exciting when it works and it comes off well. And it's something I'd you know, enjoy doing continually or doing it again.
I want to thank Bill Anderson for being my guest on tonight's show. He is a singer, he is a songwriter, he is a star. And of course, he is the host of the National Network's Fandango. Thanks once again, Bill. It's been a pleasure on Suds and Country Video. And I'll be looking for you on the next edition of course, Suds and Country Video right here.